Welcome to the Claiming Pleasure podcast with Malika. Thank you so much for being here today. My guest is Myke. We're going to have a conversation about claiming pleasure in our lives. Thank you for being here today, Myke.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Ooh, okay. Where do you start that question? In my 50s, originated in the US, living in Australia for 20 years. I'm interested in just about everything. And I'm an engineer by day and quietly an economist.
A quiet economist. Here we are talking about pleasure and claiming pleasure. What does pleasure mean to you and how do you embody it in your life?
When I think of pleasure, I generally am thinking more about happiness. I see pleasure as a kind of a momentary thing, like eating an ice cream, and happiness more of a longer term thing, like thriving. I guess I'm always looking for how can I thrive, really. I spent a lot of my years with depression and was not thriving. So now, post-depression era, doing all the fun things. Meet all the people, chat to all the people, do all the things. That's good fun.
I remember having a conversation with an ex-partner where I said, "Do you like yourself?" And he said, "No." And he asked me, "Do you like yourself?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "What does that feel like?" And I went, "It feels really good after decades of not liking myself."
Yes.
I'm a big fan of liking myself.
I had a therapist ask me one day, like, do you love yourself? And I was like, what is this mumbo jumbo, love yourself? Blah, blah, blah. And like it sat with me and it took a little while, but I went, I'm the only one I've got. I need to back myself. And went on that voyage of growth until I go, do love myself. Killing it. Woo! Yeah, it's a journey.
It is. I think it is a bit scary when we say to people, just love yourself, self-love. And I think, well, let's start with self-awareness, a little bit of self-kindness, a bit of self-like, and then sort of move into a little romantic, okay, I love me.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah, not so overwhelming and go, oh, well, I like my elbow. It's a good elbow.
You can't wake up one day and just be there. Like
No.
it takes a steady, concentrated effort, especially if you start in dark places.
Yeah. What helps you feel playful, free, and creative?
To some degree, my job can be a little bit creative. I have moments, but it is also quite stressful. So I'm finding more and more often, the more I can separate that work-life balance and go, that's a work thing. Most of us work at home now, so it's like in our living rooms or, in the spare room, whatever. Sorry, I forgot the question. ADHD moments.
Hey, I'm right there with you.
Started thinking about happy things.
What helps you feel playful, free, and creative?
Playful, free, and creative. I love music, so that's one of the things that comes to mind. Sort of budding new DJ. I love sharing the music with other people that enjoy it. So that's very playful and free at the moment. Creative, I've always built things, wood things, electronic things, a couple of camper vans, a bunch of blinky lights. Yeah, all the things. So, being an engineer, like you're always building something. I think it's very creative engineering, despite what people think about us.
You're okay with putting IKEA together? No one is okay with putting IKEA
The trick with
together.
IKEA is you have a beer in your left hand, screwdriver in your right, and you have an hour. Don't spill your beer. Don't get it upside down.
What gets in the way of feeling pleasure for you?
I do find there's the life you live and then the life that you want to live. And you're constantly trying to find those precious moments of doing your own stuff. In the meantime, you're working a job and taking care of the kids and feeding people and taking out the trash, doing weeds in the garden, all that stuff, It's about freedom and time out. And, some people are like, I'll get bored if I'm not, staring at my phone or whatever. Well, that boredom is like the best because like that's when you see who you really are. Like, what do you want to do with this moment? Sit and get bored, stare at the wall, see what happens. I like that.
What does safety feel like in your nervous system and in your relationships?
Oh, there's a challenging one. I still don't think I really know what that looks like. In relationship, I could see other people feeling that. I still don't think I feel safe.
Yeah.
There's safety in relationships, there's communication and boundaries and all that sort of stuff. My current relationship, I feel quite safe and comfortable, and we talk about everything, and boundaries are respected, and no issues in that regard. But in terms of a sense of safety, I still don't really have that. Like, I still worry about food and shelter and, I don't know, violence and World War III and all the things. Like, my nervous system is never calm. That is just not a thing.
Nervous system is never calm.
No, it's like I don't know a sense of calm, really. Like, I equivocate those two things together, calm and safety. I don't feel like my nervous system has ever really gotten out of that fight or flight kind of panic mode. So yeah, that is a ongoing kind of thing I think about quite often, especially my job. Like, it's quite stressful. I work more hours than I'd like. What else can I do to earn that kind of money? Haven't figured anything out, so keep doing it. If you're coming from a place where you're already very highly strung, both enables you to function in that high level and also, continues the damage, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about my cortisol levels for my over life. I'm not going to live to 100. I just know already.
Maybe yes, maybe no.
Not without some serious science. Who knows?
So this is a lifetime of high cortisol levels.
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Because what did you learn about pleasure and safety from your family growing up, if anything?
Yeah, not so much. I'm from that generation where my dad spoke to me when I graduated uni.
That was it?
Not really, but did not teach me to throw a ball, did not hang out with me. His idea of spending time with me was like taking me to the shooting range and firing handguns. Not exactly relaxing. And my mom, a school teacher, not a lot of play. Like, here's your Legos, off you go. So, yeah.
I'm done with kids. I'm up to my limit with kid energy.
Probably. Your sister was a handful. They talk about self-soothing and self-regulation, and certainly I learned to do that. And the downside is, like, I'm independent to a fault. Like, it's impossible for me to ask for help. And when I do ask for help, if I haven't got it, you get one shot. So there've certainly been relationships where I asked people for help and didn't get it. And right, okay, well, just do my own thing.
Yes, that absolutely resonates with me. I know with survivors, we are very hyper-independent, and I only kind of realised that a few years ago. I had a crazy car accident, you remember, 10, 12 years ago. I asked my sister and my ex for help, and they both said no, and I was like, well, that's that. I guess I'm not asking anybody else.
It's hard. Other people can ask for help, and it's magical, and sometimes they get it. I don't know. I haven't learned to navigate that social contract yet.
Yet. That yet is such a powerful word, though.
I should say my current partner is quite helpful. So, yeah. Hooray.
Yay.
Making changes in my life.
Positive changes.
Positive changes in my life.
That's great to hear. Do you tap into your body? Do you know what a yes feels like in your body and what a no feels like in your body?
Yes.
What do they feel like?
Yes, and I'll add something funny on the end. I find it quite easy to make decisions. Some people fret about things. I find it quite easy. Fly by the seat of my pants for the moment kind of guy. I either like it or don't, and I've tried most things, so I have a yes or no already kind of pre-prepared. Because of my ADHD, it also can be a bit whimsical and spur the moment decisions. So yeah, sometimes that can be both fun and how did I get here? Yep.
And a no, you just pre-prepared with those as well? Or that's
Yeah, I'm quite confident in my nose. Obviously, having a childhood where has some unfortunate incidents affects a lot of people, but from that, I guess I'm quite stubborn or strong or confident in my nose, and that's never really been an issue in my adult life.
quite resilient. Childhood was a bit challenging at times. How did you reconnect with your body and overcome any feelings of guilt or shame, or if you have indeed overcome these feelings, or even if you maybe never had them? We don't always feel these ways.
I certainly had feelings that were in that box. If you go, there's a box of feelings and emotions that are quite similar, and sometimes it's hard to articulate some of those feelings. Shame wasn't really a feeling I had. I think regret is a thing. Anger is certainly in that family. I did a lot of therapy. I did a lot of forest bathing, they call it. So
Mm.
wandering around in the woods by myself.
Yep. Yeah.
And that, to be honest, was the best thing for me. Being independent and loving nature and being able to keep myself alive and be in some particularly bad weather on occasion and cold and rain and wet and whatever, and successfully do whatever walk I was doing, and sometimes quite far. So I found being in my body and feeling strong in my body and relying on myself to get myself out of cold and wet and rainy and thrive, I found quite therapeutic. Yeah, so between a bunch of therapy and talking about your feelings and things that happened, and I think acknowledging things that happened was important.
Yeah.
A lot of the drama for me wasn't so much what happened to me in the event, but that when I did tell my parents, they said, no, that didn't happen,
Oh.
and deny to this day. And that was quite hard,
Yeah.
and obviously makes a bit of a rift between myself and my parents.
Yeah.
So then you're back to, okay, well, I guess I'm alone. It's an ongoing theme a little bit. Yeah, you kind of just go, right, well, this is the body I got. Let's go do fun things. Meet all the people, talk to all the people. Let's get on the boats or the kayaks or rock climbs or whatever. You've only got so many years left before you're not going to be able to do that. So the other one holding you back is you. So let's go.
That resonates with me because I did years of talking, but I also did years of walking by the seaside.
Mm.
And I often talk about it, my forest gumping, where you just processing it through movement. That talk alone is not enough.
Yeah.
But through movement, through music.
I had some funny experiences with like osteopaths
Yeah.
when they would like pry up your shoulder and rub a muscle that hasn't been moved in 25 years, and suddenly you're thinking about conversations with your dad. And then it's coming out and you're crying. And you're like, well, I'm crying. So that was quite epiphany or fascinating. Yeah, you get I like to think of it as like you get splinters, all right, and you got to get this stuff out because it's better out than in.
Yep.
Much like a fart.
Absolutely.
Um, so like you just keep working at it, and layers of drawing cream or whatever, and just get this stuff out. And maybe it's terrible at the moment, but then it's so much better, and you can heal. That analogy works really well for me.
Yeah.
It's how I explain to other people as well.
That you have to go through the discomfort and go to the
Better out than in.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. Let's have the hard conversations, because then we all get better. We're all better for our kids or for our environment or for our family or community or whatever. Like,
and for ourselves.
yeah, let's let that stuff go.
We've talked about it in a couple of interviews of the body keeps score.
Yeah,
And it remembers.
excellent book.
Yeah. I haven't read it, but I feel like I've embodied it.
Exactly.
What role has community played in your healing?
That's a big one for me, and I find it truly fascinating. Being an engineer and a bit of a scientist, when I was depressed, how are people happy? How are all these people being happy? How did they get happy? What are they doing? So I looked around a lot, and there's been a little bit of study on happiness. Not a lot, but enough. And they all came to the same conclusion. Community makes people happy. The biggest way. Sure, there's ice cream, and that's great, and chocolate's fantastic. But community is the thing that makes people happy on a longer term scale. Learning that and realizing that I didn't really have a great community at the time. And, I had a few friends, a lot of them were kind of more acquaintances than friends. And I started reaching out and going, who are these people and who do I actually want to hang out with? Because I don't really vibe with everybody. And no one does. You got to find your tribe. Do things that find your tribe. So I'm active in 5 or 6 different social circles of different groups of people. And I find that's fantastic in terms of mental health and support and having a lot of different activities and interests. Yeah, a community. Who knew? People. The solution is people, which as a Gen Xer, I'm like, oh, people, I hate people. Turns out some people are great.
Some people are great. You're great.
Yeah, thank you. Do
Uh,
the best.
I mean, we started with a community of toddlers who have music in their life.
Indeed.
And here we are with our children at high school now. It's bound to happen. We're lucky. Has your relationship with your body changed over time?
There is something there that I hadn't thought about in quite a long time. As I was coming out of depression, I felt more like gotta use some weird words here for an engineer, but I feel like my spirit was more embodying of my body, kind of like the way you feel a hand in a glove or like puppeting. I always kind of drove this sort of meat puppet around, but never really integrated.
Yeah.
As I came out of depression, I really felt like I really embodied my body more, which was fascinating and weird. Kind of like the man machine were more in harmony than ever before. So I thought that was really fascinating. And then once I could drive it around and feel like I was my body, I felt a lot more confident in talking to people and making friends and dancing and building things and playing with the other kids.
Would you say that was part of what led to your depression, was being disconnected from your body?
Yeah, certainly. Like they talk about, who made your life small? Most people who have had a traumatic event, retreat into their body, retreat into their mind a little bit, and you feel small and you don't want to make a lot of noise or have a lot of lights or a lot of loud music or any of it. Like you just want to hide in your burrow. I talk about me being 3 raccoons in a man suit, but it really was like I'm going into my burrow and I'm not coming out. And it wasn't until I realized that the world outside was fantastic, kind of worked through all that stuff. It's better out here.
It is. It's definitely better integrated with our bodies.
I forgot the question again.
How's your relationship with your body changed over time?
Oh yeah, I got there.
You did get there. You did get there.
I should say now, as I'm, in my 50s, I'm getting to the point of okay, are we on the downhill slope now? You're really going to have to work hard to maintain it and keep playing. That's boring. Don't put that in.
I absolutely believe that it's kind of not negotiable. We have to keep moving our body and we have to keep playing as we get older. The play is necessary. Moving the body is necessary. I've seen people in their 80s and 90s who just are full of positive energy and vital. And that is my inspiration for growing old.
Yeah.
We use it or we lose it. And I love Billy Connolly's quote, we should never grow up as we grow older.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone's so serious. Mortgage and cars and jobs and negative gearing and all that. Come on, man. Let's go for a swim. Let's go for a hike. Let's go drive a car really fast. That's the fun stuff. Thinking about your taxes, that is not fun. That is not play.
No, maybe necessary for a moment.
You're doing it wrong. Yeah. Yeah, you try to maximize that time as opposed to the tax time.
Definitely. Definitely more playfulness, I think. What kind of touch do you find comforting or grounding? Do you like to be touched?
I do. Don't think I really find it grounding. I do love a good hug from friends. Not that keen on hugs from strangers or from acquaintances or people I've just been introduced to who certainly have a very healthy sex life, which is fabulous, which is always fun.
It is. Have you always had a healthy sex life, or was it something that you had to relearn as you got older, or learn rather?
Yeah, I've always been quite playful. I've always been quite into sex. I haven't always had a healthy sex life. Various partners along the way are more or less keen, so you kind of go along. But you learn what you like and what you don't like and what you're compatible with. Sometimes that alone can be a deal breaker in a relationship if the two people are too mismatched.
I know it's so important that we find pleasure in our bodies and that feeling of safety. I know for me, after childhood sexual abuse, that I took a long time to get into my body and to really enjoy it physically. That I kind of thought that that's what I was meant to do. People found pleasure in me. but it wasn't that I found pleasure in them or in it. And I was always sort of second guessing myself. How am I supposed to feel? And it's taken a long time to find that pleasure in my body sexually. I've always been quite comfortable sexually with myself. I joke about being a bisexual, best lover I've ever had. You can't love me as well as I do. Step aside.
It's no competition there, really.
But it is interesting because I still sort of go in waves where sometimes I've found that I can slip into being a child and being a victim still, even as a 50-year-old. I much like it better when I can be with someone I feel safe with who's like, show me what you like and I'm here for you, as opposed to I'm here for myself, And finding the right partner is so vital.
It's true.
It really is true. Does your mind ever get in the way of your body's pleasure?
Yes. Who doesn't? Who doesn't have a moment where they're thinking too much?
And then how do you tell your mind to shush?
Sometimes that balance is the zen of it. Okay, I'm going to divulge a little bit here. I'm active in the kink world as a rope top. When you're playing with someone else, it is both fun and terrifying because you're doing something that potentially is quite dangerous. If you don't know what you're doing, if you know what you're doing, is relatively safe. You can't have a bad day or you should stop. You can't be drunk. Yeah, having that balance of this is both terrifying and fun afterwards is great. You have this elation of, yes, I did the thing. It was really fun. And you connected with someone and you had a great fun time together and you're having this playful moment and it's kind of risque and your mind is very focused in that moment. I do find the balance of keeping your brain right there because there's no other option. And then afterwards, the feeling is really overwhelmingly kind of rush of adrenaline and such because you've forced your mind to focus on this one thing for an hour, which is really unheard of for me. And then afterwards, you did the thing and everyone's happy and everyone's safe. And then you can really appreciate that you forced your mind to be quiet in that moment and had this like very zen-like meditation with a partner or partners if you're telling multiple people. So I kind of quite like that.
I can tell. I can tell you like that. How do you ground yourself if you're feeling a bit out of sorts and hectic?
Yeah. I've heard a lot of grounding exercise. The one that works for me is I close my eyes, I'll take a deep breath, I'll set my shoulders and kind of relax my body a little bit, maybe have a little bit of a wiggle, and just take a moment to go, okay, I'm a force of nature. I'm going to deal with whatever problem this is. Take a moment and have a really deep breath and really focus on the breath. And it only takes 10 seconds. And then I can be like my best self again and deal with that problem. Maybe not my best self, but my almost best self. Good as you can get in 10 seconds. Anyway, I find it's enough to kind of just take a moment to breathe and assess the situation. I think that's the biggest one. Most people, when they get into a bit of a tizzy, you get really focused on the thing in front of you and you miss the big picture. Why is this person doing the thing that's irritating me or whatever? Or why is my brain doing the thing that is irritating me? How do I turn it off? Breathe. Just breathe. Sometimes that's the single act of defiance you can do.
Into the nose, out to the mouth.
That's it.
Just breathe.
Just breathe. You can do all that stuff about taking your shoes off and wandering in the sand or the dirt or grass or whatever, counting whatever, but yeah, I got no time for that. Just breathe.
And it works.
So far.
I'm a big fan of breathing. I am a firm believer that the best things in life are free, and number one is breath and breathing. And it's something that we so often take for granted until we can't breathe, until our lungs don't want to work or we're under the water or for whatever reason. And then it's like, oh my God, I'm such a big fan of breathing.
I have had panic attacks on occasion. Not so much in recent years, but certainly in my depression era. And I found breathing very hard in those moments. In those moments, it was take your shoes off, stick them in the grass. No, breathing is enough.
I'm glad. What messages did society give you about whose pleasure matters?
Ha. The world was different when I grew up. Certainly growing up in Texas,
Oof.
it was a very different world.
It's still a different world in Texas.
Yeah. Also true. But yeah, certainly the messages you get as a child of being a white male in Texas is, you can imagine, it's very conservative. Patriarchy is alive and well, and, all the sort of things that parents teach their children. Even when I was 15, 16, I was like, hang on, this does not really sit well. You spend the rest of your life overcoming that bias that you're sort of drilled into you as a child. And you grow and evolve and go, oh, that's a terrible idea, treat people with respect. I know that's a big one for you. And it's like the breathing of the social world. Start with respect. I think when it comes to pleasure, you're having a dance or you're having a negotiation or a conversation about what feels good to each person and what they like and what they don't like. And I do enjoy that conversation and finding out what people are into.
I definitely feel like you're an ally with women. How can men be more of an ally for women in general? I mean, I know that's a big sweeping statement, but you got an idea, an insight, a tip?
I lie awake at night thinking about this one a little bit. With the Me Too movement, for example, I just think this is a male problem. We are the problem. We need to sort our shit out. How can we be better men? Look, it's both everyone to look within and go, am I respecting people? Am I treating people fairly? And the second part is calling people out, especially men calling out other men. Get brave, call people out.
Yes, yeah.
And it doesn't have to be harsh. It doesn't have to be, hey, you're being a dickhead. It needs to be, hey, man, how's it going? Let's have a conversation about what just happened. I don't feel that was your best self. I feel like you can be better.
Yeah.
I feel like we can all do better. We'll get a little chill doing it. Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard. We are not nearly at parity in terms of respect or salaries or opportunities. We're nowhere near it. And I think a lot of people go, oh, yeah, we can all just go, let's respect each other, and now it's fine. It's not quite that simple. Do women have pockets in their clothes?
Real pockets?
They have the option to have pockets in their clothes. There's subtle things in our life and our society that we don't really think too much about that are still there. And until that really reaches parity, we really need to work hard on that. Yeah. It's a challenging topic, but mostly I think men need to call out other men when they're being dicks. And it doesn't have to be hostile. It doesn't have to be a punch in the snoot. It can be let's have a conversation because I think you can be a better person.
Assertiveness. Yes, I've talked as well about the fact that I grew up with passive aggressiveness and only learned about assertiveness in my mid-30s. Like, there's an alternative. It's a good alternative. Just tell your truth. Nice I statement. I think you could be better. Yeah. You did have violence enacted against you by a man. No, you must be so angry. I'm just angry. I'm angry. I get so angry. I just walk around with a lot of anger, actually, that I just sort of push aside and just go, all the abusive people out there, why? But anyway, I won't go into into the details or anything. And we can cut this if you don't want to talk about it. I know that it was really big for you to talk about your experiences for the Sydney Fringe Festival. Was it a couple of years ago? It feels like so many men don't want to acknowledge that they have also been survivors of child abuse, especially child sexual abuse. It's so fucking gross and awful. You've moved through it and you're still sexual and enjoying your body and enjoying pleasure in your life. Is there anything that you would say to men who've gone through abuse in their lives growing up? Here you are ahead now in that journey. Is there anything that you could say to help men get past? Like, I guess there's a certain stigma still. I mean, there's a stigma for everybody talking about this, but I think it's particularly hard for men to talk about. Again, we're in a patriarchy society that doesn't necessarily want men to feel all of their emotions. It's not okay to be scared or to be afraid or to be sad or to be depressed. What insights would you have for other men? I don't know. I just know we need to heal.
I guess it's a series of things. First is, are you currently safe? If you're still in an environment where you're being abused or mistreated, whether it be physically or emotional, whether you're an adult or a child. First is, are you in a safe living situation or are you not? And if you're not, find some help. There are, people out there who can help you. So that's the first thing, I guess I would say, is acknowledge it. Go, this is not okay, whether it's physical or emotional abuse. Middle-aged men get emotionally abused and bullied.
Yeah.
Sometimes by women, sometimes by men.
Yeah.
So that's step one, I guess. Acknowledge it and try to get yourself safe. I found what was really helpful for me is learning a lot about how your body stores memories and how your brain stores memories in different parts of the brain, in your primate brain and your lizard brain. I found that really helpful to understand how I had some memories that were frozen in my short-term memory from childhood that when I thought about were very, very vivid because they hadn't really been processed. And the more I sort of dug around in there, the more I could process those with my adult self and realize, just how bad it was. There's this period of my life between the event and my 40s where it was just not there.
The memories
The
weren't there.
memories, yeah, they were just kind of locked away in that sort of trauma memory. And then as they started coming out, I started realizing what had happened and remembering and processing. And so learning how that process worked and realizing that I was not the first person to go through this. You wake up and you're 40 and go, oh my God, these things happened to me as a child that I'd completely repressed, like something out of a daytime soap opera.
A really bad one.
Aliens are coming in at any moment. So I found it quite helpful to learn how that process works of like working through those memories, being an adult and going, well, that was really a terrible thing that happened and I'm okay now. I'm not in that situation. I'm in a safe place-ish. My understanding of what safe is.
You're not in Texas anymore, so.
And could process that. And from there, I guess you go, okay, there's therapy, there's walking in the woods. Some people swim, some people ride motorbikes, whatever it is that's your vibe, go with that and let it come out and get that splinter out. And I guess that's the overall thing I'd say is let it out, get it out, dig it out. Don't just hide it, bury it on the rug. I know we're Gen X, but it didn't work then and it doesn't work now. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is that the more that came out, the more I came out of depression. I likened it to being underwater and everything's really dark and you get a little bit of glimmer of light. And the more you work that way out to the beach, the closer you get to the surface. I remember the feeling of like seeing the sunshine, proverbially, the first time and going, holy crap, life is not what I thought it was. This is a completely different experience. Being alive for the first time since I was a kid. And it didn't last. It lasted, a day or something, and then it was back in the water and had to keep working on it. But then eventually, 6 months later or something, I kind of came out and for the most part stayed out. I have hard days and things are hard. And that's another part of the process.
Yeah.
Some people, whether it's addiction or trauma or whatever, like you relapse or you have other episodes or you have a panic attack while you're at Safeway or whatever. That happens and that's okay. You just have to keep going.
Yeah, which is brave.
How's that?
That's fantastic. Sometimes when we're feeling stuck, we need someone else who's seen the light and gone towards the light without crossing over. We need to bring these things out to the light for others, for us all to heal. The healing journey has to be our choice. I think a wonderful choice to make, particularly like us when we have children. We want to be our best selves for our children so they can be their best selves. I mean, I do.
100%.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing that. I think we're pretty much almost done, really. I mean, is there anything else you can think of to talk about? I mean, I've got one last question, but is there anything else you want to talk about?
I think that last one, I think there's something else there I think is important that we haven't really talked about. And that's the link between depression and trauma. And I think a lot of people feel guilty or shame.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you mentioned shame earlier. I didn't really feel those kinds of feelings, but I certainly had a low self-worth or low self-opinion for many years.
Yeah, same.
And I kind of just rattled around in life by whatever looked fun at the time. I think depression and PTSD and trauma and childhood trauma very closely linked. And getting out of depression is hard. You were talking about anger earlier. I really used that anger to get out of depression. Instead of getting mad at myself, they talk about depression being anger turned inward. I really turned that outward. And it took a while, but instead of getting angry at myself for not being cooler, smarter, whatever, I got angry at the perpetrator or the disease itself. Eventually, the perpetrator was dead. So, I'm going to get angry at a dead guy. That doesn't seem that productive. But getting angry at depression and going, nah, I'm not going to let this disease control the rest of my life. Fuck that.
Yeah.
And I talk about, I got up every morning and kicked depression in the face and just said, nah, I'm not having it. I found that very empowering. So that's the method that I use to get out of depression.
Yeah.
And I hope that works for somebody.
Did you get angry with your parents because they didn't believe you?
Yeah.
Not that you can change them. I mean, we may never get the acknowledgement. We may never get the apology. We have to make our peace with ourselves.
Certainly along the way, I felt angry. I don't now. I guess I didn't find it useful. If it's not a tool I can use, I'm not going to carry it around because it's just heavy.
Yeah.
Getting angry at my parents for something they either willfully denied or don't know about or choose not to know about, I can't change them. You just have to go, right, well, they are who they are. They're still my parents. I'll get angry at other stuff.
That absolutely resonates with me. I could be angry with my mum for the situation that I was put into. I could be angry with my abuser who is still like 91 and alive. I'm actually tempted to go and do a bit of restorative justice and go and, before he does cark it, just talk, because I'm no longer scared. I'm no longer ashamed. I feel very much more in my power now.
Yeah.
And I'm not angry. I mean, I am, but I'm not. That's not an anger that I carry inside of me like a burning, because I am aware that carrying that kind of anger just hurts me and gives them power that they don't deserve. He doesn't deserve me to be thinking about him or carrying him around me. I just think of him as a sad old man, really.
Mm-hmm.
But angry at the systems as well that allow this to happen, that don't protect survivors, that dismiss the victims and kind of give the perpetrator a little pat on the head and go, oh, don't do that again. Now run along.
Oh, that was naughty. Off you go.
Angry about those sort of things. And I guess that's why I'm doing something like this podcast. It's a constructive way. As someone said to me today, there is a lot of anger out there, but what we really need is more joy and more playfulness and more pleasure. Lifting our light, lifting our vibration, bringing more joy into our lives and into the world. I think that's what we really, really need more of.
For sure. More play, more fun, more pleasure. Just makes the world a better place.
Makes us happier, makes us better.
It's like the good and evil, right, wrong, eternal balance, isn't it?
Yeah. Which then naturally leads me to my last question.
Here we go.
Ready?
I'm ready.
What brings you pleasure?
God, have you got 45 minutes?
Go for it. I might edit this down a little bit,
What brings me pleasure? God, there's so many things. Back to community, like I'm part of the Burning Man community here in Australia, and I've really found great joy in that community. A lot of really fun and interesting people who are committed to play. That's kind of what the event is all about. Let's play together and see what kind of shenanigans we can get up to. It's 100 degrees outside and someone's got popsicles.
That's pleasure.
It's given me the opportunity to become a DJ. And so we put up a tent, we throw some killer parties, we're goths, and we also are a bit of a haven for people who are like us. Your vibe attracts your tribe. A lot of people in the goth community have their own drama and depression and stuff. Certainly the two aren't hand in hand. There's lots of people who are not goths who have stuff. I do find it gives a place for other people to find their community, which I think is my way of helping the world, is going, hey, there are people that match your vibe you could come hang out with, and, we could be your family. If your family sucks, here's another one. Here's one I prepared earlier. To some degree, like building stuff. I like making art. I love conversing with people now, which is not something I could have said 20 years ago. I don't do it so much anymore, but I love motorcycles. I like motorcycles a little too much, and that's why I don't have one.
Know thyself.
I like to go fast. I like the bush. I love my partner. She's fantastic. Loving having a healthy relationship. We communicate really well, and that's fantastic. I love that I've crafted this individual into someone that I respect and love. That's a very major source of pride for me, is that I took this guy who was not very well liked and was not very social and had some drama and turned him into something that I'm quite proud of. So that brings me joy.
Me too.
Thank you. Yeah, all the things. All the things can be fun if you do it right. I even enjoy taxes on occasion.
Yeah. You.
I did say I was quietly an economist.
You are an economist. Yeah.
Yeah, you can find joy in most things if you do it right.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you have got joy and pleasure in your life, and that joy and pleasure in yourself.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for being my guest today.
It's my pleasure.
That's another pleasure.
Doing podcasts.
Thank you for listening to Claiming Pleasure with Malika. I hope that you have enjoyed today's conversation as much as I have. Please follow the podcast to know when new episodes come out. Jump onto Substack and ask any questions and become part of our community. Look for glimmers every day. Be kind to yourself.